the young, and the restless spoilers. The early morning sun barely peeked through the blinds of Ashley Abbott's bedroom as she reached for her phone. A familiar tone signaled a message from her daughter, Abby, and Ashley, still groggy from the remnants of sleep, instinctively smiled. But as her eyes focused on the screen, her heart froze. The message wasn't a cheerful greeting or an update from Abby, it was a nightmare. The photo attached showed Abby's daughter, her face pale and eyes wide with terror, gagged with a piece of cloth. Underneath the image was a chilling message, "I am Martin. Return to Genoa immediately if you don't want your daughter to die." Ashley's hand trembled as she read the message again, trying to comprehend the horror in front of her. Fear quickly turned into rage. Without thinking, she dialed Abby's number, desperate to hear her voice, to know that this was some sick joke. But there was no answer. Frantic, she dialed again, her anger flaring as each call went unanswered. The realization that Martin, whoever he was, could be monitoring the calls and would not pick up, only fueled her fury. In Genoa, the Abbott estate had always been a fortress of security and family pride, yet now, it seemed as if its walls were closing in, haunted by the shadows of a faceless villain. Ashley's mind raced with possibilities. Who was Martin? Why target Abby? And more terrifyingly, why hadn't she seen this coming? Devin Hamilton, Abby's husband, was oblivious to the growing storm. He believed his wife was away on business, handling one of her many ventures. Devin was used to Abby's frequent travel, her dedication to work often pulling her across cities without much warning. So when he received a message from her, explaining a sudden change in plans, he thought nothing of it. The message read, "Had to extend my trip, don't worry. Love you." Devin smiled, admiring his wife's dedication, never suspecting that the message was not from Abby, but from a man skilled in deception, Martin. Martin was no ordinary kidnapper. He was cunning, careful, and calculated. He knew that if anyone suspected Abby was missing, the full weight of the Newmans and Abbotts would come crashing down on him. He couldn't afford that. Not yet. So he meticulously covered his tracks, impersonating Abby through text messages, all the while keeping her under close watch in a secluded location. His plan was perfect, flawless, even. Or so he thought. But Martin hadn't accounted for one thing, the unyielding determination of a mother who would stop at nothing to save her child. Ashley, despite her recent illness and weakened state, booked the first flight back to Genoa. She hadn't fully recovered, her body still fragile from the surgeries and treatments, but nothing would keep her from Abby. The flight to Genoa was agonizingly slow. Ashley replayed the events in her mind, trying to piece together clues, wondering what she had missed. How could this have happened? The questions swirled, tormenting her, but there were no answers. Only the persistent throb of fear in her chest. Meanwhile, Abby was confined in a dimly lit room, her heart pounding with fear and confusion. She had no idea where she was or why she had been taken. The man who called himself Martin was a stranger to her, yet there was something terrifyingly familiar about the way he carried himself. His voice was calm, almost soothing, but the words he spoke were venomous. "Your mother is coming," Martin whispered one day, a twisted smile on his face. "But I'm afraid she won't be able to save you. You see, Abby, your mother and I have a very old score to settle. And by the time she realizes what's happening, it will be too late." Abby's heart sank. The thought of her mother walking into a trap because of her made her sick with fear. She had heard stories about men like Martin, cold, ruthless, and with no conscience. The kind of man who could kill without hesitation. But why her? What did her mother have to do with any of this? These questions gnawed at her, but she could find no answers in Martin's eyes, only a cold, unyielding darkness. Ashley's arrival in Genoa was far from the triumphant return she had envisioned. She was greeted not with warmth and comfort, but with the cold, hard reality of her daughter's disappearance. She quickly realized that Martin was no ordinary adversary. He was a ghost, leaving no trace of his whereabouts, only a trail of fear and confusion. She enlisted the help of private investigators, contacted the authorities, but every lead led to a dead end. It was as if Martin had vanished into thin air, taking Abby with him. The frustration and helplessness gnawed at Ashley, but she refused to give up. She couldn't. Abby needed her, and she would move heaven and earth to bring her back.